Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Orange Slice, the podcast of the OSU-OKC campus. You're here for our exciting season 1 finale. We've got through a whole season sharing stories from the campus with you, and we've got a good one for you today. I'm Matthew Price. I'm here with Danny Ellerd. He is one of our CFSI, Center for Social Innovation students. He's got a great story of his how he's turned around his life in the last few years, and we're excited to have him on the show today. So, Danny, thanks for coming out.
Well, thank you for having me. Hi, I'm Danny Ellerd. Uh, I grew up in a South Oklahoma City, had a great family, great childhood. I just chose the wrong people around me and chose the wrong path, and I got involved in drugs at a young age, and I just kept myself surrounded with it, and then just kept getting in trouble. And when I was, say, 25, I had a shoulder surgery, and I became addicted to opiates. And it's probably about 2011. And it just kept growing and growing, and the doctors ended it. And so I went to the streets, and I just became heavily involved in buying and selling and using until it just was never enough. And it led around a road of like 15, 20 years of addiction to opiate pills and doing whatever I had to do to get them. And eventually I ended up with, my family didn't want to talk to me. I had no friends, and just everything in my life fell apart. And I ended up one day couldn't find my pills. And so someone had heroin. So I started using heroin, and that just, everything in my life completely went bad. Like ended up homeless, sleeping on people's couches, and to the point where I was just had to pitch a tent by the highway, and just no hope at all, just hopeless. And I had got in trouble with the law, and some bounty hunters were looking for me because I skipped bond. Well, they picked me up and they brought me to jail. I was such bad health at that time. I was like 92 pounds and had abscesses all over me. And so the county jail refused me. They're like, no, take him to the hospital. We can't take him in here because they thought I was going to die. And so I ended up going to the hospital, and I had surgery on my hand, and they got my diabetes in control. I was type 1 diabetic, and I wasn't taking care of myself. And that contributed a lot to my health. And so I went to a detox center in Oklahoma City. And then from there, I went to a program called Hope is Alive. And it's like a men's faith-based mentoring program. And they loved me, back to life. I got my health back. And they helped me build a system of which I still live by today, values and things like that, schedule, consistency. And I had people I looked up there, and I followed their lead and kind of like, what are they doing to be successful? And I just applied that to my life until I built a routine that I live by today. And so I spent 29 months there, and now I'm a graduate. I'm an alumni, and I still go back and I help other guys that were like me there, and that kind of keeps me involved and helps me with my routine, helping others that were in my spot because people helped me. And one of our Sunday night meetings, someone came up there, and Ari Patchen, and he said, "Is anyone want to go to school? It's kind of a second chance for education, and they'll pay me to do it." And so I was like, "Okay." And so I got Ariel Moore's phone number from them, and I applied, and she ended up calling me the next day, and I got involved in it. And CFSI it helps build your career. It gives you a second chance in education and career path. And I have so many leadership skills and career skills and things I didn't even know I needed. But now it's helping me get to the future and the career my dreams. So from Hope is Alive to there, it's just incredible. Like, it's built my life, and I have so many things on my resume and certificates on my wall, and just my family loves me now. I've got a car, I've got a life, I got friends, and like everything's a complete 180 turnaround. I'm just happy.
Oh, that is all so great. That's great news. Um, did you think? I mean, obviously you were going through a whole lot, and the surgery things that are not your fault, and that it pulls you into things, and then you just maybe can't see a way out. I'm not sure. Was it that you needed somebody to say, "Here's a structure that will work for you," or what do you think you were needing at that point?
Well, I've went several times. People have tried to help me, and I've went through it. Like my parents put me in rehabs before, and I was just my will. Like I had to be completely broken. Like my way is not going to work, and then I submitted to what it was. I thought I had it before, but I went back and I tried to like save people, and you can't save anyone but yourself. And then just be an example is what I've learned. Like you can only take care of you, you can only control you.
Oh, for sure. So tell me about some of what you've done in CFSI. So what's some of that process like? Because you're actually the first student we've had on the program. We wanted to get you guys on here, but tell us a little about what some of the programs you go through and some of the things you learn in the program.
Well, so far, like we show up like Monday through Thursday, 8 to 3, and we'll have a speaker from 8:30 to 9:30. And we have gone through financial training, Dare to Lead training, which is Brene Brown, and we've gone through Giant Leadership, the Lynn Institute, Hope Strategies. See here, and then they helped me with my Ed to Goes, which I'm doing computer programming,
Yeah.
and I love that.
That's a growth area and something that you have a lot of interest in.
Yeah, there's like a community of people in there, and we're all getting a second chance at education, and we build on each other and support each other and love each other and make it possible for each other.
Do you think the community aspect is something that helps? Like, oh,
Yes.
these people have also been through something, and here they are. This guy's working on his education. She's working on her education. Does it help you? Okay, well, I can too then. Something
Yeah,
along
we
those
all
lines.
support and love each other, and school's hard, so it's a struggle, but persistence through the struggles is the goal.
All right, terrific. Well, yeah, tell me a little about what you're doing on some of the Ed to Go stuff, because we obviously can those kind of work. You do those through OSU-OKC, so that might be something people are interested in.
I'm doing front end web development. It's not something the school really offers, but I'm building websites like creativity, HTML, CSS,
Yeah.
JavaScript, and it's hard, and it's like learning different computer languages, but I love it.
That's terrific. So you've learned CSS, JavaScript, all those just from taking the classes.
I'm building my first website right now.
Oh, that's terrific. That is terrific. Okay. So tell people, I guess, if they maybe are in a position where they might be interested in like a CFSI program. What's the process? Is there do you do with their interviews? You get a hold of Ariel and there's interviews.
You get a hold of Ariel and they'll schedule an interview for you, and you go in and it's like a 5-6 panel interview, and they all ask you questions. I was real nervous when it happened, but I'm just honest with them, and they care about people and they want to help them.
And then the other program that you're involved with that helps kind of get you to the point where you're ready for CFSI. Is that a deal where people can reach out to them, or how do they get involved with them?
Hope is Alive Ministries. They have their website, and they just want to help people. We go through codependency training, SLA training, 12-step programs, and you just live in a house it's a community, just like the school community. It's a community of people trying to go to the same place, helping and leaning on each other. And it put my life back together, and then CFSI is projecting me into the future with my career. And combine those two, it's amazing.
It sounds like one thing that you mentioned, and you correct me on any of this, but you had trouble maybe maintaining your friendships and your stuff with your family, and then when you got into a place where you had a community, that was something that maybe made a little bit of a difference, is having people around you that were that knew how to support where you were at.
From where I came from, it was always people were out to get you or out to hurt you, and it took me a good 6 months to realize that people are genuinely just want to help and care about you. Just I wasn't used to that from the lifestyle I lived.
Yeah, I'm sure going through experiencing homelessness and going through drug addiction, it's difficult probably to open yourself up to say, well, I'm going to trust this person or that person, because you're coming out of a situation where you've had to be very guarded. What made you decide to open up to the people? Was it just they were just there, just their consistency, or what made you decide to do it? They just
consistently love you every day and care about you, and eventually it gets through to you. And I believed them, so and then I just kind of embraced it, and they suggest things. They don't tell you to do things. I mean, you have to be out of bed at a certain time and be here at a certain time. But just over time, you got close to them and you realize, they don't want nothing from you. They just want to help you.
And then you're doing sort of almost what you'd call a pay it forward thing because you're doing an internship coming up, right?
Yes, I'm supposed to go work for the Limb Institute, the Hope Strategies Division for Janine Pointer. And we're supposed to be doing like Chesapeake gardening with juveniles. And we're supposed to kind of mentor them and help them to, learn from my experiences so you don't have to suffer like I did.
Mm-hmm. And what would you tell somebody maybe who's at some point along in a struggle right now, whether it's with addiction or even getting an education, if you're struggling with something and you don't know maybe where to turn, what kind of advice do you have for people who are not having that hope right now?
There's resources, there's people that care and want to help, and all you have to do is reach out and ask. You can call an addiction hotline, there's TRC to detox, or if you're just talking to somebody. We have CFSI over there in the science building. Each one of us has almost been through addiction, and we can help you and talk to you about it. We're pretty open about it.
That's I mean, and I wonder if people sometimes just don't know where to turn. So hopefully if you're watching this and you don't, maybe some of these resources can help somebody out who's out there as well. Mm-hmm. So if we're coming back and talking to alumni Danny Ellerd 5 years down the road or 10 years down the road, where do you want to be? What do you hope is your story at that point?
Oh, I'm hoping that I keep going with everything they've given me and build on it and find me some sort of leadership in a company. I'm kind of wishing for like Amazon or something like that, a big tech company where I can design and create things. Mm-hmm. I like being creative and I like the structure of it. But that's hopefully maybe Seattle. Working for Amazon would be my dream job right now.
Great. And you're right now, your first website is in the works right now. Yes, you're building it right now.
I've got the base built and I'm just kind of styling it, putting the pictures and formatting.
All right, terrific. Well, is there anything else you wanted to add? Thank you so much for coming and sharing your story. I think, I know when, like I said, when John made that post about you, it almost kind of went viral. People just sharing it on Reddit, picking up everywhere like, wow, look at how much this guy has turned it around through, a lot. I mean, yes, a lot of help from others, but obviously required some grit and determination and fortitude from you to do it.
Yeah, I was kind of trying to hide my story at that point. Like I didn't feel like I had done much. And then the reactions and the comments and the messages I got from that kind of just made me embrace it. If I can help people through what I've been through, then I love to do that. I plan on this summer, I'm only taking 2 classes. I'm going to write a book of kind of what worked for me and what didn't work for me in recovery to kind of show people my journey.
That's terrific. That's great to hear. I think that's the thing is like, you've got more you want to do and dreams that you want to achieve, but you have come a long way. And like I said, obviously the help and the community was huge, but I think you've got to give yourself some credit for, it doesn't happen unless you want it to happen, right? I mean, you had to make that decision at some point, I suppose, like I am going to go for this.
Yeah.
So
it's just consistency, habit or what you do turns into a habit in 21 days. So I've built healthy habits for me, and I have things like if I get frustrated, angry, upset, I use exercise as an output, a healthy output for those things.
Yeah, that's a good one, and it's something that kind of helps everybody. I mean, and it does kind of can reset your mind a little bit sometimes if you're frustrated to go in and exercise. So, well, again, thank you so much for coming and sharing your story. We've been really glad to have you on Orange Slice, and I think just telling what CFSI does on campus, it's important. I think I think we're on our 4th cohort now, I believe, with the 5th one coming in, and we have just had people who, we're in different stages when they got here, but needed to figure out a way, to get back to education or let education take them to the place they want to go. And anyway, I just think it's so important. So if that's something that might help you, the viewer, look into our CFSI program, because it does help people who have either been justice involved, sometimes had addiction problems, or had struggles to get, it's a pathway. And sometimes just figuring out what are these pathways, it can be difficult for anybody in education, but especially sometimes once you've had struggles, what is the pathway for me back to where I need to be? I have these skills, I have abilities, but how do I get on that path? And the CFSI is one way to do it. So thank you for sharing a story. Thanks for being an example to people of how it can be done. This is our season finale. We'll have a couple specials this summer, and then we'll be back in the fall with more Orange Slice. But I want to thank Danny Ellerd for taking the time and being here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we've enjoyed having you, and we've appreciate all of our guests this season. So stick around and join us this summer for a couple of specials, and then back in the fall as we jump into season 2. So that wraps up this season of Orange Slice, and thank you for watching.